What up, everybody? Hope everybody's enjoying their weekend so far. I know I am. I just got off vacation with my lovely lady. Enjoyed the couple of days that we had to rest. It's always fun to kind of get away and kind of recharge your batteries. Man, there's so much to talk about. This is another jam-packed video. I went through like 40 some odd videos and clips and kind of like tried to piece together stuff. I think I came up with almost like 30 minutes of clips that I'm going to use throughout this. So I'm pretty excited. I mean, this is kind of a bittersweet topic, but at the same time, a really good topic to talk about in light of what tomorrow is, or by the time you see this, probably today, or it just passed. It's April 26th is what I'm referring to, the PCW, or Professional Championship Wrestling Super Show. I will be part of it. I will actually be at the meet and greet, so hey, if you're watching this after the fact, sorry. But if you are happening listening to this or watch this before the event, 5 p.m. at the gym in Arlington, Texas, right before the show, I will be selling t-shirts. The only place you can get them will be at the Super Show meet and greet. I will be at a table, probably sitting next to a friend or so, and very much looking forward to it. Very much looking forward to the reunion. I'll talk about that in depth in the next video. Just happy that my girl's going to get to see me, in large part because she never got to really see me in that environment, and really proud of my work there overall. So just glad to be kind of under the PCW banner one last time, or one more time at least. Very much looking forward to it. Anyway, but real quickly, before I continue with this video, I do have to talk about May 10th. That is Reality Wrestling's next national TV taping. They're coming off the heels of a great show that happened last weekend, and every show, everybody seems to step up their game, and they're constantly stepping up their game, and I'm just happy to be part of it. And I will talk about that in my next video as well, talking about some of the matches and my thoughts and so on and so forth. But now on to story time, and so much to cover. Now, my last video I talked about my feuding with Lance Hoyt, and the tail end of it, you saw me losing an I Quit match to Lance. On top of that, I mentioned being suspended. So from a full throttle standpoint, and from a PCW career standpoint, I just lost one of the biggest matches of my career against one of my hated foes, and so there was that. Now I'm suspended, and on top of that, as of Road to Destruction, I'm told that I will no longer be running Uncut, and we're going to bring in Todd Diamond. So it was kind of a rough period of time at that point. I mean, I had known for a couple months that I was going to lose Uncut, and I did my best to work with Todd to catch him up to speed. He was real gracious. Never had really a problem with Todd. Always had immense respect for him. Ever since the first time I met him at PCW when he gave me the tour all that time ago, I just wasn't happy with the situation. Not really being told, kind of it being announced while I'm away. One of the few times that I'm actually away from PCW, one weekend they make the announcement. I knew it was coming, but at the same time I would have liked to have had a sit down and all that. But Todd, again, really good guy. At the same time, he was just in a tough position. I kind of felt for him. But at the same time, my mindset was, I was feeling like I was getting shafted by PCW. Really shafted, actually. And I mean, but I think in some respects, when you're in a thing for so long, and you've been doing it for so long, and at that point I'm the champion and running Uncut, and then being a main guy and still running Uncut, and dealing with injury and dealing with my personal life and all this stuff, I just found myself just kind of a negative frame of mind. And I'll give you an example. Mike Bussey and I were having a conversation and was signing a poster, I think, for one of the shows. It was around that period of time. And Mike kind of said in jest, and kind of like a positive message, but he was like, man, can you just think, in 10 years we'll still be doing this stuff. Meaning, hey, this company will be around in 10 years and will probably be highly successful. At that point, they had just really started doing like smart video, which was kind of like video for smartphones, like kind of right before the YouTube thing was about to explode. I mean, it's just started, it was in its infancy, but they had the idea of putting out the videos on smartphones, which at the time not a lot of people had, but it was kind of ahead of the curve, so to speak. I really was kind of excited, but it was a new technology, and on top of that, we were on a network, and so things were looking up. But I was thinking, like, well, the pay's not the greatest. 10 years, I mean, hopefully we're out of this building, we're on to something bigger, or we're traveling, so on and so forth. So it was kind of that, yeah, that's great, stability, but at the same time, what's the next thing? And I mean, that was kind of the stuff that would plague me, where I would probably see it from a positive, maybe even 6 months prior. Now I'm kind of like, But again, I was in that frame of mind. So there was that. So on Full Throttle, they had me, they brought up the idea of having me feud with BJ. And I just came off the feud with Lance, was coming off suspension. So BJ was a great guy in the aspect that he was really legit, seemingly the offense was really legit. He was on the rise, and he had some good matches with Hernandez, so he was kind of getting, he was getting built up, so on and so forth, and he really just kind of elevated his game, and we trained together, and really was thankful for him helping me train. So there was that positive, I really wanted to work this guy. He's one of my friends, but at the same time, the negative aspect was like, well, we're not working for a title. What are we working for? I just came off of like a feud, kind of a blood feud, and now I'm going to have this other one. But I used the suspension and my frame of mind as motivation to put out the realest thing I could, because again, I'm facing BJ.
Now BJ rolling him over, and he's got him in position for the 12-point stretch. We're going to see Damien tap out here. And, oh, wait a minute, here's Steve DeMarco. What? DeMarco just rang the bell out here. BJ Turner doesn't know DeMarco's in the ring. Sexy kick from DeMarco.
Yeah, that would be my feud, me and BJ. It starts off kind of out of my suspension. I'm attacking him after, during a match, causing him to lose. So there's my feud on Full Throttle. Now, over on Uncut, like I said, they were under new management. And as I've said, I didn't really have an issue with Todd. However, I had an issue with the situation. But I still was willing to turn a positive out of the negative, or at least my negative frame of mind, as far as it fueling my promos on Uncut.
There's no show without Steve DeMarco. So, let me make sure you got this clear so the fans understand you. There's no show without Steve DeMarco. You're the main event. You're great. Wait, Todd. Let's be honest. If I wasn't that great, my music wouldn't play. The people wouldn't get off their asses. And the truth be told, when I'm in here, it's the most real thing going.
I really felt like I had to turn on the heat even more to keep my momentum. I mean, again, I'm coming off this I Quit match, and my thought process is, well, I just got to be better. I mean, I really kind of started to build that real mean, dirty streak that would carry me through most of, the remainder of my run. So I felt like it was necessary that I have that kind of heat, and the heat where I didn't care about the fans' approval. I didn't care if they liked me. I didn't really care for anyone's approval. I felt like I just needed to be the best bad guy that the company had, and that became my focus. And it was like, I don't want anybody to cheer me. I want them to boo me. So yeah. Now, with Todd taking over, that led to Uncut, and I think even Full Throttle wanting a new champion. They wanted to, at that point, I think Luke Bronson was champ, but they were looking at elevating him, but they didn't want to elevate him with the title. So Todd really wanted to kind of put his own stamp on things, and wanted me to work on the show So it kind of became a thing, and they had this battle royal, and everybody was, eligible for it, and they would crown a new champion. What they would do is do the battle royal, and then the last two would face each other, and I would get to face one of the most popular guys in PCW history, and a dear friend of mine, Wally Darkmon. Wally's a tough kid. From day one, I knew that guy was a tough kid. And he's also a guy that me and my group, or guys that I kind of ran with, we all kind of looked at Wally as the next guy with us, one of us. Always enjoyed hanging out with Wally, always really funny guy, plenty of personality, got the business as far as like a character. And the Wally Darkmon character was so unique, and it was so immensely over. Like I said, he could have easily been the Wrestler of the Year for 2005, but again, we won't even, that was last video. But again, his character was so unique, and he did it so well, and I think he didn't really want to do it when he began, but then once he saw the benefit of being the character and had some feuds, man, once he got it and rolled with it, he was just, like I said, one of the, probably, if not the most popular one of, and I mean like top 3 or 4 of all time with PCW. But the thing was about being the Uncut champion at the, after that, is that he wouldn't be my only feud on Uncut. I'm not really sure why the title was never defended or even brought into Full Throttle. But then again, it hadn't really been brought in since like Genocide 2005. So I don't think they were even contemplating bringing it in. And I wasn't one to go, hey, let me bring this title on Full Throttle. It was just kind of like, oh, we'll treat them as separate entities, and they'll kind of spill over, but, you defend it only on Uncut, which I was fine with, because it gave me some, some freedom. So, like, after winning the title and going into my feud with BJ, I felt like I needed even more heat. And I was trying to think of things that would garner me more heat. I had been always reluctant to have a valet. There were only a couple of situations where I actually had a valet. And usually it was just kind of a last-minute, spur-of-the-moment thing. I partnered up with Claudia at PCW, but she wasn't really my valet. We were we were partners in this battle against the Bussies and against G-Slice and LaMotta. I was real apprehensive to even consider having a valet, and then I started to consider it, but there wasn't really, I didn't really want to take anyone away from the show. And on top of that, I really wanted to bring in Ashley. Now, I'm not going to talk about me and Ashley's relationship or feelings. I've done that a lot on other videos, and they're all over YouTube, and it's not to say that I want to diminish it, but it's really about why I brought her in. Really, to look at her, that's why I brought her in. It was a bonus that we dated, and had we not, she probably wouldn't be coming to the shows, and I wouldn't consider bringing her on. And I've been real apprehensive to even include my love life in the wrestling world. Like, very rarely did I want those two to overlap or collide. It felt like keeping them separate. But she would come to shows, and then, and I felt like this would be a better reason for us to hang out even more, because the Saturdays were always kind of filled with PCW, and it was like, well, that's a kind of a missed opportunity to spend time together, so why not? And I mean, it was really kind of a departure from what I would normally do. But on top of it, I was like, well, she's a really good-looking girl. I can get heat. Look at her. Why not? I know the thing was that I didn't want any... Once I had my mind made up, I didn't want anybody to try to talk me out of it. And I know if I'd gone to Richard, he would have given me every reason why not to. Well, you know, you're dating her, and what if you guys break it off, and would you still want her to be a part of it, so on and so forth. Like, I knew he would be the voice of reason, and I didn't want that. So I remember going to Mike Bussey and having just kind of like on a Sunday night, and I think it was like right after a show, we had a sit down, and I knew if I went to Mike that I would, you know, probably get the okay, because he always kind of sided with me in some respects. Most stuff, you know, especially about a good argument. More importantly, I never really came to him with requests. He'd done more than be gracious with me, him and his sons, and, you know, his entire family, and the company as a whole. But I was really feeling like animate that I wanted this. And again, I didn't want Richard to tell me no. Or, you know, I didn't want to get in an argument with him. What I wanted was, sure, just hear me out. So I went to Mike, and I just told him, look, man, you know, I date this girl. I really have tremendous feelings for her. But on top of that, I think she'd be a great asset. I can teach her how to be a valet, and that's all she'll be doing. I don't think she'll, you know, she hasn't mentioned anything about wrestling or even wanting to, but the valet thing I think would be great. Plus it would help my character. It would give me that extra oomph, kind of put me over even more. And I just really want it. And Mike listened to me and just was like, sure, man, you know, hey, it's your thing. If you know, use your best judgment. And I was like, awesome. And again, you know, Richard probably didn't like it. I know he didn't like it because I didn't come to him, and I should have came to him. I should have, you know, probably sat down with him and Mike, and it did the same spiel, or maybe with the Bussy, like everybody, like, look, this is what I want to do. Probably bring her into it so they could all meet her and so on and so forth. Probably could have done it differently, but at that point it was like, I don't want an argument. I don't want to create an argument. I just want my way. And so, yeah. But the thing was, you know, again, I thought, okay, this will kind of hot girl with me, never done it. She'll be eye candy, but at the same time, it'll get me heat because she'll be bitchy. She'll act like a major bitch, and that's what I need. You know, I need that extension of me, you know, that confidence, so on and so forth. And really, she helped me with that confidence. And on top of, you know, one personal thing I'll say is she always calmed me down. When I was, you know, stuff would bother me, I could vent to her, and she was there, so she'd listen to me and tell me everything was going to be all right. And sometimes that's all you needed. That's all I needed at that point, like affirmation, and she would give it to me. But again, I think there was a strain, and again, I could understand probably Richard's point of view of, look, man, you know, what if she doesn't do right? Like, and even when he told me, that he had found out that Mike had told me, hey, you want her on the show, it was more like, man, you could have came to me, we could work this out, we could make it a good storyline, so on and so forth. But I know there was a little strain at first. So on April 14th on Uncut, she actually debuted.
Short and sweet. I'm going to take all the time in the world because you know there's no show without Steve DeMarco. I proved once again, despite all the odds, despite the entire Uncut locker room, that the belt rightfully went where it rightfully belongs, around my sexy waist. And to the victor goes the spoils. You see, unlike everybody else on the roster, when I say I win a belt, I get it. When I say I'm gonna whoop somebody's ass, I do it. When I say
then as champ, my hope and plan was to elevate all of those that faced me. On Uncut, that was the deal. To face new guys, anyone that wanted to face me, anyone that wanted to step up. And I felt like I could help elevate them by purely just being in the ring with me and my status within the company. And also, if the people saw footage of it, it would help in a way. Like, let's see what they've got. We can see it, see how people react to them, so on and so forth. I also wanted to elevate the profile of Uncut even more. Because I felt like with me as champ, and considering I was a Grand Slam champion, and now I've held all 5 titles, and I had held the Uncut title really briefly one night, I think when Goo ran it, so I didn't count that. This was my official run with the Uncut title, and the fifth, my fifth, one for the thumb. So I don't even know what you call that. I wouldn't even speculate. If someone has an idea of if you win the 5 major titles of a company, it's not Grand Slam, because I won the 4, that made me Grand Slam. The 5, what is that? What does it say? One for the thumb. Anyway, I realized Todd wanted to keep me happy. He was in an awful situation. I feel for him, because guys didn't want me to be taken off the show or taken away as booker. They liked my booking style, but at the same time, I probably in the back of my mind, hey, I needed a break. That would have been cool. I just wish they had sat down with me and we had had a conversation. But anyway, I think Todd kept me around to smooth the transition. And mind you, his run as booker and my run as champ would kind of last the same amount of time. So, but I wasn't trying to sabotage a show or anything like that, by no means. I was really just wanting to elevate everybody and really continue to do what I was doing. At the same time, have that freedom to work whoever I wanted to work. I was the champ and I had the girl. Over on Full Throttle, things with BJ were heating up, and I was about to bring Tavia in to make things hotter.
And now BJ may be getting ready to turn him over for the 12-point stretch, and indeed he does.
He's got him.
He's got it. He's got the arm pulled back. He's pulling out.
DeMarco doesn't quit. DeMarco does not.
Oh, who is this? Wait a second. Who's this young lady at ringside?
I don't know, but she.
Wait a minute. She's climbing up on the apron. Who is she?
I don't know.
Does she even belong here? What's she doing?
Hey, stop looking underneath her skirt, whatever you're doing.
Well, she's got the referee up against the ropes. I have no clue who this girl is or where she came from, but BJ Turner having to let go of the 12-point stretch. Oh, wait a minute.
Hey, you don't put your hands on a woman like that.
She tried to slap him. BJ tried to retaliate, and now a sexy kick from DeMarco.
You don't put your hands on a woman like that. You deserve to go to sleep.
And 3.
I remember after that, again, Richard probably had an issue with it, and he had voiced that he did have an issue with it because of the way I had approached Mike and not put him in the loop. But I was like, look, man, I think this will work. So he was like, okay, well, she can't be wearing bright colors. We need her to wear, darker colors because you're a bad guy. We don't want them kind of giving her sympathy, so on and so forth. And I saw that. I didn't see like a Macho Man, Miss Elizabeth type of deal. I didn't see that. I saw a, kind of Edge Lita, kind of Macho Man, sensational Sherry, but just with turning up the sex factor as much as possible. But he gave me some ideas and tips, and he kind of worked with her, and I worked with her as far as like entrance and kind of nonverbal cues to put her in place and so on and so forth. But, she was learning on the job. It wasn't really like we took a lot of time. I rushed it, which is another thing which completely goes against what I would normally do. And it completely against what I would suggest anyone else do. Again, if I'm in the right frame of mind, I'm saying, okay, I'm talking to her at the beginning of the year and we're building towards this, and we've got like 3 or 4 months to get her ready for her TV debut or her show debut, as opposed to rushing it. But, so back on Uncut, I'm running things as champ and making matches on the fly. Like, after a tremendous 6-man elimination match, Luke Bronson becomes the #1 contender. And I give him his title shot that very night. Bronson. I'll be honest, man, that guy was awesome. Like, I saw him and I figured once he got his feet under him, he got stable, he didn't rush. He was one of the bigger guys on either roster, and just, country strong guy, and looked the part and looked mean. Just minor little tweaks, but once he got those tweaks and once we got him with code, and even a little bit after that, like, he started to get on his own, like, I really thought great things about Bronson, and he was a great pleasure to work because he brought it. Like, he was so enthusiastic and so willing to learn at the same time. Like, I would tell him, like, don't put up with anybody. You fight back, because that's your character. Like, fight back. And man, he would take that little bit of advice and he would go with it. And he, again, he'd get advice from other veterans, and he had a good head on his shoulders, man. And really, pleasure to work with him. Now, back on Full Throttle, I wanted BJ to know he wasn't safe anywhere, and he would lose every golden opportunity because of me.
Turning him over, I think he's going to go for the 12-point stretch, and he's got it locked in.
He's got Noby Bryant damn near unconscious.
Wait a second.
Hi.
Oh, wait just a second.
No, I think you're missing it, honey. I'm over here. Hi.
Wait a minute. This is the same young lady we saw last week at the Turner and DeMarco match.
No, I'm over here, sweetheart. You're missing it.
She's got the referee turned around while Bryant was on the verge of giving up, and
no, look, BJ's ready for DeMarco. He's ready for DeMarco to come out of that.
Oh, look at this! DeMarco coming through the arena.
Beautiful.
DeMarco coming up behind BJ Turner. Sexy kick by DeMarco. The referee's distracted by whoever that is that came out.
Beautiful. I don't care whoever that is. She can stand there all night if she wears that skirt. I don't care.
I'd add insult to injury, and our feud was coming along nicely. I mean, we were getting prepared for capital punishment, and on Uncut, I'm getting prepared for criminal behavior. And Tavia, again, was getting more comfortable. She was starting to kind of get the idea, and I mean, really sweet gal, but she could, I knew she had it in her, and it was just a matter of going, look, you don't want to get cheered. We're there to piss them off. And once she kind of got that, man, good things. Back on Uncut, I was afforded the opportunity to work guys I wouldn't get to on Full Throttle. One in particular I was very much looking forward to. Now, working with Richter, another guy, like, he had a motor. I mean, you look at him, people underestimated his ability. I never did. I'd see him work. I'd see him put together really good matches with guys who, really may not have had a clue when they first got in there, but hopefully they were taking notes, mental notes, because he could teach you a thing or two. He taught me a thing or two. I really enjoyed working with him. I wish I had gotten to work with him more, but I felt like it was a good opportunity to work with him and kind of help, help build guys and show like he can work just a straight up match with a guy. Because that's all really I was doing up until that point, as we were building. I wasn't trying to do any hardcore stuff. It was just like straight up matches. So I feel a great heel can turn anyone they face into a hero. I felt I was good at that because not only were they all being cheered, but I had plenty of challengers, which is what I wanted. What I wanted was here I am, and all these people are coming after me. And by them chasing after me, they're getting elevated. And it's not a matter of me winning matches outright or pinning guys outright. I'm going to retain, because that's the story we're trying to tell, is that I'm this guy that will, as long as I retain. And in the meantime, I'm helping guys get over because they're losing by DQ, or they're winning by DQ. But if the rules weren't quite there, or I couldn't bend them, or I couldn't escape, then there you go. But there were guys that I got, there were plenty of challengers, like and now back on Full Throttle, BJ wanted some retribution, and he would get it.
Man, Barnes got a face full of mad. I think he knocked all the wind out of him.
Good night.
Sexy kick from DeMarco, and that just put out Brett Barnes' lights 2 and 3.
That's all she wrote. Welcome to PCW, Brett Barnes.
What a welcome indeed from Sexy Steve DeMarco.
Your winner, Sexy Steve DeMarco.
Yeah, well, he's going to think about that when he goes to the mirror and sees that.
Oh, wait a minute.
What is this?
Here's BJ Turner, and he is after Steve DeMarco like a house of fire.
I told you they were coming at him from every angle.
We saw what DeMarco did to BJ Turner a week ago, knocking him out cold with a sexy kick and then putting his own 12-point stretch on him. But Turner is in there, firing away, and now he's just taking DeMarco down. He is on top of him.
Oh, man, he's beating the crap out of DeMarco.
Firing in with headbutts.
Of course he's not going to be able to defend himself. He just got through with a 10-minute match.
Now Turner is PO'd, no question about that, driving in elbows and heads and knees and everything you can think of.
This is wrestling. This is not UFC. This is not pride fighting. What's he going to do to the arm?
Right now, I would put BJ Turner up against anybody in pride, and now he's down in the 12-point stretch. DeMarco's tapping.
So BJ had gotten the better of me. But, after Full Throttle, my focus had to shift back to Uncut, because now I'm having to face another young up-and-comer in the success story in the making, Aaron Eagle. Eagle's always been a good kid. I remember when he was part of the Young Pioneers. It was Eagle Scout and Cub Scout. They had the buddy system. They had this great finisher and the way they entered, and for a while they would put them with Brownie. But these guys they were both humble and they did anything you asked. And then Cub couldn't really wrestle anymore, so Eagle had to kind of go out on his own. And his maturation, man. And it was kind of one of those things of sitting down with him and going like, man, you don't need to rush. Think Randy Orton. And I always would tell young guys like that, people can say what they want, but there's really no wasted movement with Randy, and everything has impact. And that's kind of what I wanted. And to have that mindset like Randy, don't rush. You don't need to. You're the success story in the making, Aaron Eagle. And he's another one, man. I wish I'd gotten to work a little bit more. Yeah, man, real pleasure working him. Tough kid, man, tough kid. And you know, I would see him like later on, and yeah, he would do awesome. So after that, a somewhat successful title defense. I mean, I got the win. It was so that was Cinco de Marco, Cinco de Mayo. So the next night, May 6th, was actually Steve DeMarco's night at PCW.
With tonight's card here on PCW, Full Throttle, Rob Moore with Chris Myers once again. Of course, the ladder match for the Cruiserweight belt coming up later tonight in our main event. But right now, here's a man who's got a match coming up next week, and there won't be any titles on the line in that one. All that'll be on the line in that match, personal pride.
Had a quick little match against newcomer Mike Castle. Love the kid, man. Such a great guy. Was a ref at one point, was becoming a wrestler, was a graduate of the school. I couldn't have been prouder. And I really liked Mike, but I had to make an example.
You know, I've said a lot of good things about this kid, Mike Castle, but I really think that he bit a way more than he could chew. Well, indeed, the best way to learn is to take on the very best, and in this case, Mike Castle's opponent is among the very best here in PCW. Many belts to his credit. Oh, hard slap to the face.
And then I got some revenge on BJ.
Marco climbing away. Oh my gosh, low blow by DeMarco.
Good night. Oh, I caught him on the back of the head.
And then I got to say my piece. So that whole night was the Steve DeMarco show, and I loved it.
Accompanied by the lovely Tavia, sexy Steve DeMarco.
So that's her name. Tavia. All right.
You stay right here. You conduct this interview. You be a professional for 5 minutes of your life.
Well, that's not fair.
I had an easy night. Next week, capital punishment, I end BJ Turner. That's what I do. I come in here and I end careers. I stop people. I'm the only Grand Slam winner. And at capital punishment, I'm going to prove once again why I am the greatest wrestler alive.
This would all lead to the criminal behavior capital punishment weekend. I had this weekend coming for a long time. I mean, Todd Diamond was tired of me and was tired of me just making a mockery of the show because I would be this quote-unquote fighting champion that would just cheat to retain. So he put me in a steel cage. I don't know if it was the first ever steel cage of Uncut. I'm not going to say that, but could have been. And it was against an old friend, Wally Darkmon. But unfortunately, there was no winner. The match broke down into this kind of like Capital Punishment 2006 hype. It had everyone who was going to be part of Capital Punishment. And, you know, I thought I had some reinforcements in a cage. Wow, we've been here before. But this time, Wally had a surprise for me. Sabu, I thought we were friends. We embraced and hugged, did the pose, and now you're, man, you're like, whatever. You liked Wally, cool, whatever. I still walked out as champ. I escaped as champion. I wouldn't have such luck at Capital Punishment. I will say this, though. Walking in that night, I was extremely confident.
PCW Full Throttle Capital Punishment 2006 on the Lone Star Lord!
Oh, forget DeMarco. God bless him, but look what is on his right arm, brother.
Well, indeed, this is the lady whom we now know as Tavia. Steve DeMarco's newfound valet, and she's certainly been a big help to him as of late.
Well, she's definitely been a major asset.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, from Miami, Florida, accompanied tonight by the lovely Tavia, sexy Steve DeMarco!
I'll tell you what, Chris, now.
But confidence, it doesn't always garner victory.
He just told us he's going to be Superman, baby.
Well, let's see if he can fly like Superman. Steve DeMarco perched on that top turnbuckle.
Well, it makes sense since B.J. Turner looks like Lex Luthor.
Oh, look at this. Turner grabs him in midair, and he's going to go for that 12-point stretch.
No, he's not going to get it. He's not going to get it.
Got DeMarco down, and now pulling back on him, and now he's going to wrap up that arm. Trying to wrap up that arm and get him in the 12-point stretch, and he's got it hooked in.
Oh,
he's got the 12-point stretch on Steve DeMarco.
Turner's lost it.
Turner's pulling back. DeMarco reaching for the rope, but that's got to feel like it's a million miles away, but he's inching ever closer.
Turner actually pulled him back.
He's tapping! He's tapping! DeMarco tapped!
So I tapped, but I was still the champ for the company as a whole, but they were separate entities, so yeah. But anyway, I was still champ. And even after my defeat, I still felt I was owed something, and I voiced that.
A lot worse 4 words you could have said, I guess.
GM, huh? This is what a real woman looks like, not like a bunch of reject knockouts. She doesn't want to be a knockout. She wants to have an actual name. Tavia, not knockout A, knockout B, knockout C, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But enough about that. Capital Punishment. You crown a new world champion in Mace Malone. You crown a new television champion in Nobi Bryant. While I, the only Grand Slam champion in PCW history, had to be languished in a feud with B.J. Turner, a guy who's not even in my league. I'm the only Grand Slam champion. I've held every belt imaginable, and yet I'm in feuds that mean nothing. Antonio, let's be honest, I'm the guy who packs this arena. Everybody comes to see sexy Steve DeMarco.
It would lead to another night of Steve DeMarco in where I faced my former tag team partner, the guy that I captured PCW tag team gold with, and because of him getting fired from the company, I was no longer tag team champion, nor did I ever get a rematch, but he was back. He's a Texas legend, Action Jackson. Here's the thing about Action Jackson. I love Action Jackson. That guy can get over anywhere he goes. It's quite the opposite. Like, I feel like this guy's a great babyface. And he is, like, the music alone, but everywhere he goes, it doesn't matter where he goes, that guy's the guy. And I loved working him. I loved being in a feud with him because, again, he was a Texas legend. I'm trying to build myself as the icon, the legend, the man, the myth, all of it. And he's the perfect guy because he's so entrenched in PCW history. And it would lead, our feud would culminate, it would lead to this, one of the more infamous matches in my career. A match that actually has got, probably out of all the videos that I've ever put out on YouTube, it's got the most hits. And because it's a Kiss My Foot match.
The icon, Wally, Texas legend.
And he's going to actually do this.
Get down.
Oh, the right hand from AJ. Just lays out the marker. He's got Tavia.
And Action Jackson.
And then gives it Tavia! Jackson getting catches it! She's kissing the foot!
And Action Jackson apparently is not a man of his word. He's not going to kiss the foot.
And he's making them kiss!
Oh, this is an awful mess, and it backfired right in the face of Steve DeMarco.
I may have gotten the win, and I did get the win in the record books of Shock and Awe 2006. Yours truly beat Texas legend Action Jackson, proving I'm an icon at PCW. But he didn't kiss my foot. All things come to an end. And a couple weeks later, it would mark the end for me. And it would come pretty much from the most unlikely of challengers.
This is the #1 contender, huh? This is Uncut's solution to Steve DeMarco? What are you, crazy? I'd rather walk out of this building than to let some punk ass get the better of me. Because the reality is, he's like every one of you. You should be lifted where the sun don't shine.
I have immense respect for Andy. I feel like when I first met him, he was kind of misunderstood because he was so just excited to be part of the business. And that excitement led to trying to overcompensate and be, have a bit of an ego, and fun. Like, I always thought he was just joking around. He hung with guys and got the people in his ear, and, he was influenced. But I enjoyed that match with Dalton. I really did. It was good to work that guy. I think we've worked 1 or 2 times since, and they've always been a blast because we have kind of the same mindset. It's about entertaining the fans. And, he might go, I hope you watch that. And Andy, we're probably, I go, but you're, and I'm like, and you're, I can only imagine if we ever had a match, that's what it would be. I think it would be like 15 minutes of pointing at the fans or doing, yay! I can only imagine. But anyway. Now, really, the highlight for me of that night, the win alone. I built up my legacy at that point as far as Uncut Champion. And to have him come in and just everything with Fight, Win, Survive. Look at this. Look at that. I still have it. The shirt. But anyway, the highlight for me of all of it is that Tavia finally got some mic time. It was finally able to, I finally was like, no, let her talk. I want her to talk.
Uncut Champion, Sexy Steve
So the next night, I just had lost the Uncut title. And the next night was my match against BJ. Even though we had this feud, this kind of the continuation, I think, or like we'd stop for a bit after Capital Punishment, and here we go. And we had a Weapons of Mass Destruction match. And I don't have that match, and I wish to God I had that match. Because it was really so awesome. It's just such a pleasure to work with BJ. And at the end of it, BJ, it's a Weapons of Mass Destruction match. It's hardcore to the extreme. We had shattered glass, we had all kinds of stuff. Chairs, table, we had everything you could think of. And towards the end, BJ pulls out this Wolverine type of thing, like this, you could hold it, but it had blades, and he puts it to my face, and, Tavia grabs a towel and just throws it, and I get, I forfeit. And that was it. I didn't know right then that, for the time being, that would be my last match at PCW. And it's often been debated, and when people have asked me, I've always kind of give them these reasons. But I never really, and sometimes, depending, early on in the heat of the moment, probably feeling burnt out, I would have said some stuff. The truth is that it wasn't any booking decision. It wasn't a storyline. It wasn't anything like that. When I look at it now, especially now, but even back then, here I had the girl as my valet, so I had It was awesome. I was just coming off a title run. I mean, Fight Wouldn't Survive, it was another stipulation title thing, and who knows where it would have gone. I remember calling Richard and like 4 or 5 in the morning and just telling him I'm done. I'm done. And it might have been even earlier than that, but I just remember him, just me being like, I'm done. I'm done. I don't think there was anything he could have said. And it might have come across as I was just angry with direction. I was angry with, oh, they don't do enough merchandise for the boys, or, I was upset over pay, or, I'm not going to lie, the drama of being there for such a consecutive amount of time, and really it wasn't just a Friday, Saturday thing, it was a Monday through Saturday, sometimes Monday through Sunday thing. I was spinning my wheels. I was starting to try to gain traction with like trying to find a real job. I mean, there's just kind of all these things. I remember having a conversation with Richard not too long ago and saying that, honestly, there was nothing he could have said to have kept me there. The truth was, and the reason that I walked away was because I had gotten an invite to Booker T's PWA. I had just done a tryout with WWE. Booker had invited me to that. After I met him, came up to his facility. And after the tryout, he had extended the invitation to join his school. And above all else, I felt like maybe I needed to be a student again. Maybe I needed to take a step away just to kind of gain a different perspective. When you're in it, and you're in that bubble, nothing that happens sometimes, if you get into a certain dark mode, I don't think anything's going to keep your spirits lifted. And maybe if I had other people to sound off to, maybe had I taken a break, maybe had I just accepted certain things and I tried to fight certain things, would have skewed my thought. But when I got the invite from Booker, that's all I needed. I'll talk more in depthly about that in the next video. But yeah, overall, I will say, and I would come back to PCW every so often, and I'll get into that in the next video, because a lot of things change after I come to Booker's. But I'll talk about that time from my perspective, my thought process, also getting on YouTube, my thoughts on that, and losing a friend, losing a dear friend, and, losing so much. It would be, roughly like 6-7 months later. No, I take that back. It didn't be about 8 or 9 months later. But, in closing, man, when it comes to my time at PCW overall, obviously it was a big chunk of my career. I learned a lot, working television, working with vets, working with young guys, booking, just the creative aspect, all of it. It really was a great education. And at one point, it was my life. It consumed me, more so than anything else. And I really don't have any major complaints about my time. A lot of decisions, made in knee-jerk, heat of the moment, not following my advice of just enjoying it. That last run was great. All in all, it was great. Because, I think I helped build the guys. And, when I walked away, I think we were in better hands than when I got there. We were doing great things. And on top of it, man, I have these memories and these moments and stuff on video that I can always look at fondly. And such great video quality, which is phenomenal. But again, like I said, the next video will cover Booker, and I'll probably talk about the reunion in depthly. I'm really looking forward to it. I say reunion because it's a reunion for me. It's a super show for everybody else. It's going to be an exciting time. And then, again, back to the grindstone come May 10th with Reality Wrestling and, training and whatnot. And everything's good, man. I'm just really excited about the future and really looking forward to what it holds and the journey. And everything else. So with that said, thanks for taking your time and listening to this. I hope you listen to it. Don't just watch it. Yeah, you know, who knows. Anyway, until the next time, as I always like to stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy. But hey, you're all fans of mine. You watched this video or you listened to it, so you already are. Later.